Okay guys, today I'm sharing 1-minute habits for a tidier, cleaner, and clutter-free home. Honestly, these things are like 60 seconds. They take hardly any time. Do them and you will be on your way to a peaceful and cleaner home in no time. I've also sprinkled in a few that maybe don't directly deal with cleanliness or clutter, but they're great habits to have anyway. So let's get started. I don't know about you, but whenever I want to do the dishes, one of the biggest obstacles getting in the way of me doing my dishes is having wet hands. I just don't want to get my hands wet. So instead, what I like to do is whenever I have to wash my hands, say I've just run to the bathroom, say I've just touched something dirty and you need to wash my hands, I'll say to myself, I'll just do the dishes now that my hands are wet. 1-minute habit. The next is to never have downtime in the kitchen. This just takes, again, 1 minute to do. The kitchen is one of those rooms that's just used all the time. Lots of people are in it. It's often dirty. And so just use that time and kind of make a rule with yourself to never have downtime when you're in there. This rule, I'm telling you, is life-changing. If you're waiting for your food to cook in the microwave, do something that needs to be done in the kitchen. If you're cooking and you're in between steps in the recipe, just do something. If you see fingerprints or a smudge or dirt, just grab a towel and wipe it. This is spot cleaning and it will go a long way in making your home appear cleaner. It takes literally not even 60 seconds, right? You're just seeing a fingerprint. I do this all the time. I have a stainless steel refrigerator, which, you know, I wish we had the fingerprintless stainless steel because I have 3 kids, but we don't. So I see fingerprints all the time at about my 7-year-old's height, and I will just grab a towel, wipe it. I do this several times a day. It just goes a long way in making the kitchen look a lot cleaner. As soon as the package comes in, these just came in today, open them, break those boxes down, and deal with them. Don't let your packages sit and just hang out in your house. You will never get to them. Just do it right when it comes in the door. When you're done using your sofa or your couch, just tidy it. The couch takes up so much space, at least in my living room. We don't have like this giant living room. And when the couch is messy, the whole room just looks a mess. It's kind of like when your bed is unmade, your bedroom looks a mess. So my 60-second rule here is after you've used the couch and you're done with it, just tidy up the pillows, tidy up the blankets, and you will be on your way to a tidier home. This one sounds strange, but I'm telling you, it will go a long way into making your family a lot happier. When you get up from the kitchen table, push your chair in. All of the time, I feel like I'm constantly pushing chairs in around our table, and if people would just push their chair in when they're done using the table, it would be a lot easier. We could move around the kitchen a lot easier, and I would definitely be much happier. I'm sure your mom has told you this one, but after you shower, hang up your towel. Don't leave it on the floor. Don't leave it in a ball. Make sure you hang it up. Make sure you hang it up so that it's open and not kind of smushed together so that it gets moldy, but just a reminder. And kind of another thing that probably your mom told you, but I'm just here to remind you, change the toilet paper roll. As soon as the paper runs out, put a new one. Your family will be very grateful. Another habit is to have a place in your home where you can store your kids' work. Kids come with a lot of homework, a lot of schoolwork, a lot of books. Just create a place. In our house, I've got this one little cabinet, and that's where we store all of my kids' work. So anytime they need to do homework or anything like that, they know exactly where to find it. And then we don't have like pencils and papers and books all over the house. And for the adults, I work from home a lot, and one of my tips that just takes, again, a few seconds is I clear my workspace at the end of the day when I'm done using it. That way, when I go back to work the next day, I have a nice, clean, uncluttered desk, and it just makes me a lot more productive. But we also have a pretty small house, and I have to work in the kitchen, and my husband also works in the kitchen, and so we want to keep our kitchen looking somewhat tidy, and so at the end of the day, we just tidy it up quickly, and it makes a world of difference. Next is decanting. I'm a huge fan of decanting items. I think it just saves so much time, especially if you bake a lot, for example. So I put my flour and my sugar into these larger containers, and then I can just measure it right from there. It's so much easier than having to like dig out the box or the bag that they come in, and then you make a big mess. I also like to decant cereal, snacks, whatever I can. That way it's easier to find. I put them in clear containers and I can see them really quickly. But then when people want to eat or when I'm cooking or baking, I can just easily grab them, easily use them, and keeps the whole pantry mess free. Anytime you get a bill, pay it, address it, deal with it right away. Don't just put it in a pile and then at the end of the month go back to it. It just creates a lot of paper clutter. Along those same lines, you know, really any kind of mail that comes in. For us, I go to the mailbox and I immediately start rifling through the mail and I decide what needs action, what goes into the recycling. We get a lot of junk mail, unfortunately. Maybe you do too, but I say just go through that mail, get those bills paid. I've shared this tip before, but if you work from home, or maybe it's the weekend and you want to work out, I like to just wake up and put my workout clothes on right away. Doesn't mean I'm going to work out right away. I just like to prepare myself for the workout and make sure that when the inspiration strikes to work out, that I'm already ready. I also find that it motivates me, because if I get to the end of the day, and this has happened, but it doesn't happen that often, because if I get to the end of the day and I've got my workout clothes on and I haven't worked out, I start to feel really bad and I just do the workout anyway. So I think it's a good motivator, and it just takes 60 seconds. Maybe it doesn't keep your house tidier, but it definitely helps to keep your mind tidier and fresher and sharper. Another thing that takes 60 seconds, and I'm a huge proponent of this, but it's to make a list. I love lists. I put things on a list all the time. I've got many running lists. For the weekend, I'll have like a weekend to-do list. For work, I'll have a work to-do list. I do this daily. I also like to just have like a home to-do list. I make a grocery shopping list. Lists are your friend. If you're writing things down, then the things that you have in your mind aren't taking up all of that space in your brain. Just get it down on paper, and that way you have more headspace to think about the important things. And this isn't really like a tidier thing. Maybe it's more like a mental health thing, but I think it's a good thing to do. Try to create little moments for yourself every day. And I don't mean anything weird. I simply mean if you want to enjoy a piece of cake, then make it into a moment. I do this all the time, and I think it's a lot more satisfying, and I feel like really good about this. But I will cut myself a nice piece of cake, I will put it on a nice plate, I will sit somewhere peaceful, and I will, where the kids aren't, and I will sit there and I will enjoy that cake to the fullest extent, and I will make a moment out of that. I can't stress this enough. You could do this with like a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. You could go take 15 minutes to read a book on your porch. Whatever it is, just make sure that you're taking I don't want to say 60 seconds, although it could be 60 seconds, and sometimes mine are. Take those daily moments and just make sure that you're just having that time for yourself. My next 60-second habit, and maybe this will take more than 60 seconds, but it's just every time the laundry is done and you've put it in the dryer and the dryer lets you know that it's ready, just take a few seconds to remember that you should fold it and put it away immediately. I am so guilty of this. I just got to show you this. I'm going to do this as soon as I'm done filming this video, because I can't sit here and tell you guys to fold your laundry right away when this has been sitting here since yesterday. But I do think it's a good habit to have. So whenever your dryer beeps, just get your clothes out of there, fold them, put them away, and it will really reduce the clutter, because I do think having a laundry basket hanging out around the house, it just adds to the clutter. Okay guys, well thanks so much for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and link a playlist if you wanna keep the cleaning and decluttering going. Click on it and I will see you over there. Bye-bye.